I'm now ready to start adding the dimensions. As always, it's a good idea to zoom in. Dimensions can be added by going to the Annotate tab and using the Dimension button at the left hand side. There's a hotkey and it's the D key in the keyboard. I'm going to begin adding dimensions, starting with those on the left hand side. You click once and click a second time, and then draw out to the left to place a dimension. You can see that intermittent points have the dimension stopping and snapping. When I pull out about that far, it's maybe about 20mm away from the object. I click to create a dimension. Every time you create a dimension, you might find that this box comes up. You can press OK. You can untick this box if you don't want it to keep appearing. I'm going to continue and put a second dimension on. I'm going to pull it out so that it lines up with the first dimension. I'm going to now work at the top of the shape. I'm going to put a dimension in here. Again, I'm pulling up until it snaps at what looks like a nice neat position. You can see it turns to a dotted line at that point. I'll place it there with a click. I'm now going to place centre marks. They can be found here. Press the icon and come down to an item that's got a circular or a radial profile. You can see that a green dot lights up there because it's identified that this is the centre of a circle. I'm going to click there and I immediately get a centre mark. To place a centre mark for this radius, I move over and highlight it. It's turned red and I'm going to click. You can see that the centre mark appears slightly differently to what we're looking to achieve. You can also see that the centre mark here is too small. In the diagram in the book, it extends right out above the shape and it extends right out to the left of the shape, and it actually replaces this aspect of the dimension. I'll show you how to modify the centre marks. First of all, I'll deal with this one here. I'll zoom right in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the escape key so I'm not affecting anything else. And now when I hover over the centre mark, green dots appear, and I can click and hold the mouse button and drag these so I can extend the length there, and in the diagram it goes to about there. And this one, it drops down significantly further too, so I'll pull that down too. You'll notice that the lines and the dashes are not distributed evenly, and there are also not enough of them. I'm going to right click, and you'll see there's a command here called edit. So I can align to edge, I can make the dashes uniform, I can add remove dashes. So I'm going to press this one called uniform dashing, and you can see it's shifted the dashes out so that the centre mark in the centre here has all the dashes evenly distributed. I'm going to pull this one out to the left or to the right because it's required for a dimension. I'm now going to move over here and do the same for this centre mark. I'm going to pull up. I'm going to zoom out and I'm going to continue to zoom out because the idea here is to pull the centre mark up so it is as high up as this dimension here. I'll pull this one down slightly and I'll pull this one out to the right slightly. This is all about fine tuning. You can see that this pulls out and it's actually overlapping that green line, and that's not good. We don't want that. So what I'll do is I'll pull it back When I'm going to delete this dimension, I'm going to click on it, hit the delete key. I'll pull my centre mark out now. Now I'm just going to replace that dimension and align that dimension there with the 30mm dimension just underneath it. Again, you can see it's missing the dashes here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on it. I'm going to press the cancel escape button and to right click on it again until I find the edit command comes up the screen. This time I'm going to use the add remove dashes command. I'm just going to click here and here, and you can see the extra dashes appear. I'm also going to do that above it too. I'm just going to right click and press done. And now I'm going to add a dimension in here. Make sure it's aligned with the one just to the right, that's 35mm dimension. I'm going to repeat the centre mark procedure down at the bottom left. Using the centre mark tool, I come down, I find the radius, I click on it, and I get a dimension. Again, I'm not happy with the dimension that's round about it. I'm going to delete that. I'm also not happy with the nature of the centre mark, it's not the right size, so I'm going to pull this out. I'm going to pull this to the right. I'm going to pull this further. In this case I wanted to align with this dimension, the 25mm one. I'm now going to replace the dimension that was in here. It's missing the dashes, so I can press the escape key, right click on it, press edit and add remove dashes. 1, 2, 2 times is fine. Right click and press done. The only other type of dimension I think is a bit different, needs extra explaining, is the angular dimension that we see here, the 30 degrees. To do that, you press dimension, you come down and you don't press for a single point like a green dot there, you need to select the whole line. So I'm going to click that one, it's turned red, and I'm going to try and get this one to turn red too. You have to move the mouse around and get it in the appropriate position. Sometimes it comes down and it tries to give you the opposite. We don't want that, we want that there. Sometimes after you click, the wrong one appears too. It's just a case of trial and error. Right click, press OK. Lastly, I'll just add on some diameters and radiuses. They're really easy to do. Press the dimension button, find the circular or the radial object, and just pull out from it. I'm just trying to replicate what's in the book. So that's that circle done. And now the radius too. So it's now for you to continue and try to complete the exercise so that the object is completely dimensioned in line with British standards and it appears exactly the same as what you see in the book on page 12. Zombie.